What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 312. We have Dricus du Plessis going against Sean Strickland 2. And yeah, we got a very fun pay-per-view card. I'm really looking forward to this card. It's a card where there's not a ton of name value, but in terms of, violence, in terms of, somebody getting served, somebody getting knocked out unconscious, I think we're going to get a ton of finishes on this card. That's kind of what I'm banking on. Lots of fun fights. So yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to breaking it down as always. Before we get into, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys are liking down in the comment section below, and then also check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other content behind the scenes, the best bet article where I break down the entire fight, give the pick, the prediction, the round, the method, the best bet, long shot prop for the fight, and much, much more. So yeah, check it out, dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other work there. I do want to shout out Prize Picks. Right now, if you go to Prize Picks, use promo code DFSBTN, you'll get $50 free into your Prize Picks account when you place your first $5 lineup, whether that wins or lose. You'll get $50 instantly into your Prize Picks account. Use that code DFSBTN, and also they have a free square Patrick Mahomes to get more than 0.5 passing yards. I'm not the biggest fan of the Chiefs, but what I am a big fan of is that free square, because I think Patrick Mahomes does indeed get one passing yard. So check it out and use that code DFSBTN. And yeah, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. As always, going to be breaking down these fights from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you guys want a further, more in-depth breakdown on why I'm picking who, I did a full card breakdown and prediction video out on Monday. And I say we get into it, guys. So we're going to kick it off with the first fight of the card. It was supposed to be 2 Minute a Barrel going against Park, but unfortunately 2 Minute a Barrel apparently was not able to make weight or whatever, so that fight's off, which is a shame because that was a very good fight. But now we're kicking it off with Salkilld going against Jubli, and this is where I'm going to kick off my action. So right now we have Salkilld as the biggest favorite on the entire card by a mile. He's currently minus 675, minus 700 on some books. Jubli, plus 475, plus 500. So what I'll say about Jubli is, I think people are very low on the guy, right? People are kind of clowning this guy. The whole Breeden fight wasn't the best look, kind of quit, kind of looked for a way out in that fight and got finished in the third round. Not a good look, especially with Breeden now being cut. But I actually do think, Jubli is a lot better than people think. I think his striking's pretty solid. He can wrestle, grapple a little bit as well, kind of well-rounded. I think he's solid. But in this matchup, I do like Salkilld quite a bit. I think the striking exchanges are going to be competitive, but where I do think Salkilld is going to look minus 700 potentially is going to be in the grappling. Salkilld, black belt in BJJ, and Salkild's one of those guys where he's looking to get the fight down to the mat. This guy landed 9 takedowns on the Contender Series, and if he does that here, if he pushes a wrestling-heavy pace like he did in the Contender Series, I think he's going to drown Jubli. I think he's going to cook him, and I think he's going to finish him at some point in this fight. So I like the Salkilld by submission. I have 0.75 units on it at plus 270, and then I also sprinkled the Salkilld sub 2, sub 3, quarter unit on each, sub 2 plus 1,000, sub 3 is plus 1,600. Honestly, if you want to be safer, just take the 2, 3 in general. But to be honest, they're not the best prices. But yeah, I think it's Salkilld. I think he finishes. I think it's late. I think it's a drowning, and I think Salkilld gets the job done. But I'm looking at those sub props. I think there's a big discrepancy in the grappling and cardio. Next, we got Kevin Jousset going against Jonathan Micallef. So I do have a Hail Mary parlay I'll throw out towards the end. 4 legs comes out to about plus 600, and I like Kevin Jousset here. And the thing about Kevin Jousset is I'm not the biggest Kevin Jousset guy. Not a big fan of the guy, but I am kind of a fan of him in this matchup. I just feel like Micallef, kind of a walking punching bag. He's going to eat punches with his face. Tough dude. He will go for takedowns. I just don't see him having much success in terms of getting down Jousset, holding down Jousset. And like I said, on the feet, I just think it's going to be Jousset hitting this guy in the face for 15 minutes. Pretty simple there. So I like Jousset. Do I like him on the money line? Not particularly, but I do think there's some better ways to play Jousset. I think Jousset by decision plus 140 makes a ton of sense. I think Jousset round 3 or decision. I saw even at plus money. I think that makes sense. And then in my Hail Mary parlay, I have Jousset same game parlayed with the over 1.5 that came out to minus 117, because I could potentially see a Jousset finish just with how hittable Micallef is, how willing he is to eat punches with his face, but I do think it's probably a Jousset decision. Next, we got Cody Steele going against Rongzhu. And yeah, this is a very interesting fight. So, there is a lot of people I see on Rongzhu, and it makes sense. And it says on the screen here, Steele minus 230. I actually put these odds in a few hours ago, and just recently, before recording, somebody, I guess, dropped a bomb on Cody Steele or something, because this guy's now minus 300. So Cody Steele is now a minus 300 favorite. And it's wide, but he has all the tools, I feel, to make himself, look minus 300. And the tool he should probably use here is putting that BJJ black belt to use. You look at Cody Steele, this guy is primarily a grappler. That's his base. That's what he started with. This guy has a ton of grappling matches. And Rongzhu, this guy can't grapple. 4 losses by submission. I mean, if Cody Steele takes him down, he's going to make it look just so easy. But this is why this is the Smash Your TV play of the week. And I need to get this trademark, because if you play this bet, you will probably smash your TV. And that is Cody Steele by submission plus 380. I have a half a unit on it. And the reason I'm only going a half unit is because it's so live. Like, if he takes down Rongzhu, it could be in any round. He's probably going to sub him. The problem with Cody Steele is, yes, he has solid wrestling. Yes, he has good jiu-jitsu. The problem with Cody Steele is he wants to go out there and stand and bang and swing dicks. And if he does that with Rongzhu, I still think he could win. But if he does that with Rongzhu, I don't think he's looking minus 300. So, but yeah, with that sub prop, if he does go out there with a smart game plan, I think that sub prop comes through. Could also see a potential club and sub like we saw in the Bahamondes Rongzhu fight, where Bahamondes was, piecing him up on the feet. Rongzhu shot in a sloppy takedown and got sub. Could see that. But yeah, I just think that, if Cody Steele is going out there and looking minus 300, the path would be to grapple. So we'll see. It is a Smash Your TV play of the week. I'm fully prepared to just completely bust up my TV when Cody Steele goes out there and stands and bangs with this guy for 15 minutes. But yeah, the sub is very, very live in my opinion. Half a unit plus 380. Next, we got Alexandre Topuria going against Colby Thicknesse. And yeah, sketchy fight here. This is a fight where we don't know a ton about both guys, especially Alexandre Topuria. Really all we know is kind of word of mouth, what other people are saying about the guy. But this guy's fought 3 times in the last 10 years. This guy hasn't, won a fight that's been out of the first round. The only time we did see him get out of the first round, he was completely death gassed. But, that fight was 10, 11 years ago at this point. The way I'm playing this fight is, I like some type of violence here. So something is wrong here. So Topuria, this guy's like minus 350, minus 400, but the under 1.5 is plus money. Make it make sense. Like, if Topuria is winning this fight, and he's minus 400 to do so, like, why is the under 1.5 plus money? Like, is Topuria going to win a decision? No. Is Topuria going to get a late finish? I don't think so. I think if he's winning this fight, it's going to be a first round knockout or submission. I think he's very explosive. I think he's going to sell out for that finish. So I put 2 units on the under 1.5 rounds at plus 110. And I think that probably comes through. I think Topuria probably starches this guy and makes it look pretty easy. But, and there's a big but here, a big giant but. But if this fight reaches the second round, I think Colby Thicknesse is very, very live. I think he's very, very live, because we have not seen Topuria, like I said, out of the first round. This guy's very rarely ever fought. Colby Thicknesse has shown that he can go 3 rounds. So what I also did was, I played that under, but I also had to sprinkle the Colby Thicknesse 2-3 props at just astronomical numbers. Thicknesse round 2 plus 3,000 for a quarter unit. Thicknesse round 3 plus 3,300 for a quarter unit. I'm seeing this fight as Topuria within the first 5 minutes to 7.5 minutes, or Thicknesse late props are massive. So I'm looking for one of those to come through. If they do, I'll be happy. If this fight goes the distance, I'll be sad. But yeah, it is a sketchy fight to bet on. It definitely is. But that's kind of how I'm playing it, kind of playing the violence. I'd be fairly shocked if this fight went the full 15 minutes here. Next, we got Kong Wong going against Bruno Brasil. Yeah, the more I thought about this fight, the more I just think that, Kong Wong makes this look easy. Minus 400. Yes, it looks wide, but I don't know what Bruno Brasil's doing up at flyweight. It doesn't even seem like she's a big strawweight. So for her to come up at flyweight makes no sense to me. Bruno Brasil, I primarily think these two are going to strike, and if that's the case, Kong Wong's probably going to make it look fairly easy here. So yeah, the more I thought about this fight throughout the week, the more I think it's going to be a fight that does take place standing. And when it does, Bruna Brasil, I think she's chinny. Bruna Brasil, I don't think she likes getting hit. I don't like how she reacts to getting hit, and Kong Wong hits hard. So I think the Kong Wong knockout prop, and I think we're getting a fair price on it, considering, like, I imagine, Kong Wong by knockout against Victoria Leonardo was probably, close to even money. Same thing in her last fight against Gabriela Fernandez, in a fight she did lose. But now the knockout prop is plus 270. I don't mind that, especially if she's going to go out there and look minus 400. It probably means that Bruna Brasil did not implement the grappling, and if she does not implement the grappling, I think she's kind of in big trouble here. So I like Kong Wong, half unit shot on the knockout prop, plus 270. Didn't really want to go any more than that. Next, we got Slava Borchev going against Tom Nolan. Yeah, there's a couple fights on this card where it's like, I think this fight can go either way. This fight, the heavyweight fight to Toera Tafa. But yeah, this fight especially, it's like, I don't know. I don't trust either one of these guys. I think both guys are extremely chinny. I think both guys have a lot of offensive firepower. I think violence makes a lot of sense, but it's minus 325. The only thing I have in this fight was in my 4-leg parlay, I did throw in the fight ends by knockout at minus 175. I think that's a very fair line, considering the fight doesn't go as minus 325. If there were to be a sub, it probably would be a Nolan sub, but I do expect these guys to stand and bang until one man falls, and with both guys hitting very hard, both guys having awful chins, I think somebody does get knocked out. So, fight ends by knockout, my favorite parlay piece for this fight. In terms of picking a side, good luck. Both these guys are untrustworthy in my opinion. Gabriel Santos, Jack Jenkins, Santos minus 225, Jack Jenkins plus 190. This is one of those fights where I think the line's right. I think the line's correct. Santos minus 200 to minus 225. I think he has more ways to win. I think the striking will be competitive. I just think he has a big advantage with the wrestling, the grappling. He'll go to that wrestling, that grappling. So yeah, Santos, I think he's a fine parlay piece. I think he wins the fight. Only thing I do worry about is these Australian judges potentially giving it to Jack Jenkins for no reason. But yeah, Santos. But yeah, I can see Santos winning really by any method. Jack Jenkins has been finished 3 times, 2 by sub. I could see Santos, knocking him out potentially. He hits hard. I can see Santos maybe finding a sub. I could also see Santos like a wrestle-based decision. That's kind of where I'm leaning, is that wrestle-based decision, but nothing on that Santos-Jenkins fight. Next, we got Matthews Prado. So I don't have a bet here yet. And if I do add a bet, of course, I'll post it on, DFS by the numbers, the Patreon, and then I'll pin it down in the comments below. But there is a spot that kind of sticks out to me. A lot of people are on the Prado side, and this line's kind of moving the other way. Like, money's coming in on Jake Matthews. And for me personally, I think Jake Matthews has all the tools to win this fight by decision very comfortably. If he mixes in the wrestling, I think the striking, Jake Matthews is a more technical striker, whereas, Prado kind of a more wild man, winging big shots, more power. I think if Prado wins this fight, it will be by him catching Matthews, whether that's, landing a big shot and knocking him out. So I don't mind, like, Jake Matthews by decision, I think is fine. I think it's a much better way to play Matthews. And I also don't mind the Francisco Prado finish only at plus 105, just because this guy does have a 100% finish rate. He's super tough. He's never been finished. We saw that in the Zellhuber fight. And Jake Matthews has been finished his fair share of times in the UFC. So, and, he did get dropped like 3 times by Matt Semmelsberger also. So, yeah, I think Prado, finish only, plus 105. I think that's the best way to play Prado, because if this fight does go the full 15, I'm just not convinced, Prado wins much minutes here, especially if he gets taken down and stays on his back. So, yeah, Prado, finish only would be my best bet here. Didn't pull the trigger on it yet, but I may. We'll see. Next, we got Rodolfo Bellato going against Jimmy Crute. And, yeah, I like this fight quite a bit. So there's a couple spots sticking out. I think violence in this fight is very, very underpriced. Like, you take a look at their losses. You see no decision losses. 2 knockout losses for Bellato. Borderline 3, because, Io Pateria finished him, but the ref just didn't stop the fight. And Jimmy Crute, 4 losses. All 4 come inside the distance. Both of these guys are walking punching bags. Both these guys have the worst striking defense I've ever seen. Sub 50%. I think it's like 45% for both guys. Just terrible. So yeah, with both these guys eating punches with their face, light heavyweights, big power, I think somebody's probably getting knocked out here. And I'm on the fight won't start round 3 for 1.5 units at minus 132. And I'm also on Crute inside the distance, plus 400 for a half unit, and here's why. So they have Bellato inside the distance, right, at like minus 110, plus 100. But on some books right now, you can get Crute. I saw plus 440 for Crute inside the distance. And the reason I had to pull the trigger on that, because I was going to bet the Crute money line. I really was. I know it sounds disgusting, but I was. So I like the Crute money line. I love the fight to finish. Why is Crute inside the distance at plus 400 against this chinny dude, right? So yeah, I think Crute is very, very live here. I believe this is either the first or second time he's going to be an underdog ever in the UFC, and he's fought guys like Jamal. He was a big favorite against Jamal Hill, like minus 180. He was a pretty decent-sized favorite against Anthony Smith, like minus 200. And now he's an underdog to Rodolfo Bellato. I get it, where's Crute's, mental at? Where's his head at? The dude's coming off of retirement, but skill for skill, this line's off. So we'll see. But yeah, I think somebody's getting served. Fight won't start round 3. Jimmy Crute inside the distance at a big plus money number for a half unit at plus 400. And then I also have the under 2.5 rounds in my 4-leg Hail Mary parlay. So looking for some violence here, looking for somebody to get brutally finished. Jimmy Crute screwed me over so many times, but at these odds, got to go back to the well. One last time, one last ride with Jimmy Crute. Next, we got Taliesin Teixeira going against Justin Tafa. Yeah, like I said for the Borchev Nolan fight, like this is a fight that can go either way. Both these guys are probably going to stand there and swing dicks until one man falls. So I like the under. I think the under 1.5 rounds is very generous, to be honest. Taliesin Teixeira has never even been to the second round, and Justin Tafa, I believe he has 3 or 4 UFC wins. All 4 or 3 come in the first round. So when these guys are winning, it's front-loaded. It's in the first round. The under 1.5, I got in at minus 160 for 2 units. It's like minus 180, minus 175 now. I think that's very, very generous, and I also put that in my parlay. And then I also took a quarter unit shot on Taliesin Teixeira to win by submission at plus 1100. The reason being, I don't expect Taliesin to grapple here, but if for some reason he came out there and grappled, he will like insta-tap Justin Tafa. This is a black belt in Taliesin Teixeira versus not even a white belt in Justin Tafa. I don't think Tafa's ever trained grappling, to be honest. So yeah, if Taliesin Teixeira, for some reason, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not, takes Tafa down, who is a 0 on the ground, he's going to tap him out. So I know that Teixeira sub opened up at like plus 1,500. And I'm wondering, like, where was I when that opened? But yeah, even plus 1,100 now, it's worth a shot. Do I think he grapples? Probably not, but if he does, that's a big juicy line. So I'm looking for the under. I'm looking for a Teixeira sub, but mostly that under. I'm hoping somebody gets served. I don't see why they wouldn't. Next, we got Tatiana Suarez going against Zhang Weili. We got Suarez, now the favorite, minus 125. Zhang Weili, plus 105. And yeah, I think this is a great spot to, if pre-flop, I do like, the Suarez submission prop. I'm on it for 1 unit at plus 300. And then I also don't mind, Suarez 1, 2, 3. And I also don't mind, live betting Zhang Weili potentially. Well, I want to see how this fight plays out. If Zhang Weili is still hanging in there, late second round, third round, maybe look to live bet Zhang Weili depending on the odds and where they're at. But yeah, my feelings on this fight, I kind of went back and forth on it initially. I think there's a lot of reasons to like Zhang Weili at plus money, but the more I thought about it, the more I just think takedowns will be absolutely free. We've seen, fighters like Yan Xiaonan, Rose Namajunas take down Zhang Weili with little to no resistance. Yeah, Suarez will take her down. Suarez probably will get the dominant positions, and Suarez will probably get submission opportunities early on. So I like that Suarez sub. I think that's her most likely path to victory, but I'll also be looking to potentially live bet Zhang Weili depending on how the fight is playing out. And then finally, we got Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. Yeah, I like Dricus here. Don't love the line. I do think this fight could play out competitively. I think Dricus has all the finishing upside. I think he has all the takedown upside. I think it's going to be a semi-close fight, kind of like last time. If there is a finish in this fight, though, it's probably on the Dricus side. So yeah, I think Dricus, slight favorite, makes sense. Minus 150, minus 160, minus 205. A little bit too rich for my liking, but yeah, I think Dricus at the end of the day does get his hand raised. I guess I don't hate him as a parlay piece if you're looking for just a winner. Dricus is probably, winning the fight. If you're looking for value, yeah, it's probably on Sean Strickland, but does he win this fight? I'm not convinced he does. I think Strickland will be landing more in terms of the significant strikes, but there's a big difference in the significant strike of Dricus and the significant strike of Sean Strickland, which is just a jab. So, yeah, close fight. Dricus probably wins, but don't have interest in that minus 205 and don't really have any interest in any props. And there you guys have it. Lots of plus money shots I'm taking this week. Lots of props sticking out. We'll kind of go through and quickly recap here. I'm taking the Justin Tafa, Taliesin Teixeira under 1.5 rounds, 2 units at minus 160. I'm also taking a quarter unit on Taliesin Teixeira to win by submission at plus 1100. I'm taking the Jimmy Crute Rodolfo Bellato fight won't start round 3, 1.5 units minus 132. Taking a half unit shot on Jimmy Crute inside the distance plus 400. I'm taking Colby Thicknesse, Alexandre Topuria under 1.5 rounds, 2 units plus 110. Taking a quarter unit shot on Thicknesse round 2, round 3. Quarter unit on round 2 at plus 3,000. Quarter unit on round 3 plus 3,300. I'm taking Salkilld to win by submission, 0.75 units plus 270. Salkilld round 2 plus 1,000 for a quarter unit. Salkilld round 3 sub. Quarter unit for plus 1,600. That round two is a sub, by the way, for Salkilld. And then Tatiana Suarez by submission, 1 unit plus 300. Steele by submission, the Smasher TV play of the week, half a unit plus 380. Wong by KO, half a unit plus 270. And then my 4-leg Hail Mary parlay, half a unit on it, comes out to about plus 606. It is Justin Tafa, Taliesin Teixeira under 1.5. Jimmy Crute, Rodolfo Bellato under 2.5. Tom Nolan, Slava Borchev, fight ends by knockout. And then Kevin Jousset to win and the fight to go over 1.5. Minus 117, that comes out to plus 606. If I add anything, like I said, it'll be posted in the website on the Discord, and then also I will be pinning it in the comments if I do add anything, which I'm not sure if I do, or I'm not sure if I will yet or not, but probably not. We'll see. Yeah, best of luck, guys, for UFC 312. I think it's a very underrated card. I think it's a violent card. If you're a fan of violence and fun fights, this is going to be the card for you. And best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon. See you later.